in April, at the same time we're supposed to have this alignment, he said one of the deep state's plan is to basically fake the return of Jesus. I mean, I don't know what it is and I don't know what they're here to do, but I don't think it's a negative thing. A lot of people, there's a lot of fear surrounding it. They think it's like this alien invasion coming. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't necessarily know. I've listened to all the theories and it's kind of hard to make sense of. Like, a lot of so half the people are saying it's doom and gloom. It's, we have to prepare, that we don't know what to expect. We should consider this, take this seriously. It could be a threat. And then the other half of the people think it's this very benevolent thing. And yeah. So my name is Tyler Kiwala. I am an ET experiencer, but most people know me probably from the podcast Journey to Truth. I'm host of that with my co-host Aaron Kuhn, and we started that in 2019. And it's a disclosure awakening, great awakening podcast, and we cover all things controversial. There's no subject we won't breach, and we interview eyewitnesses, secret space program whistleblowers, experiencers, people, healers, energy healers, all, just a whole array of people. And it's been a passion of ours to get the truth out there to the masses. And as we know, disclosure is on the horizon right now. So it's something that it's become a life mission for me, and it is a passion. And, I'm very grateful to be able to do this full time. And, if anybody's interested in the podcast, they can just find us. Journey to Truth online has everything we've done for the past 6 years or even almost longer now. And it's just basically we're trying to help other people who are out there just waking up to this stuff. We're trying to give them a platform to find and they can learn this information. And, because everyone has experiences is what we're finding out. It's not just me and you, it's so many people right now that are having things happen to them that don't really fit into the paradigm that we've been told. So, including, I know, like we've interviewed some people who've had NDEs, near-death experiences, and information that has come from the other side, including myself. I've had a kind of a near-death experience, but we cover a wide array of subjects, and it's just something that we love doing, and that's pretty much what we do in a nutshell. So 2026 seems to be a really interesting year. I think it's being set up to be a historic year for disclosure, and I think we're going to see a big transition in humanity, a planetary transition. And the reason I say that is, well, for one, all the indicators are there for a big financial changes on the horizon, but in particular, there's people talking about this event in April. I've heard some ET contactees talk about some sort of a planetary alignment in April, the star Regulus, or something's going to happen where we can experience a planetary shift. And then there's this government informant, you can call him. This guy, Stuart Swerdlow is his name, and he's out there telling people that in April, at the same time we're supposed to have this alignment, he said one of the deep state's plan is to basically fake the return of Jesus. And they're gonna basically, it's gonna be like the second coming, but it's not gonna be real. They're gonna like, it's gonna be like, I don't know how they plan on doing it, but he's like telling people if it happens, it's not real, right? So it seems to be that there's some sort of astronomical and astrological alignment in April that I would be on the lookout for. I don't know. I've just been listening to people, and it seems to be, it's Easter. It seems to be something might occur that could be very pivotal for a transitional phase in humanity on this planet. And I think that's why we have things like this Age of Disclosure documentary that just came out. They're they're getting everybody primed for something. They're letting us know aliens exist. We've been working with them. We've reverse engineered their craft. We have this disclosure movie coming out in June. Steven Spielberg. It's supposed to, just blow. Who knows? It's supposed to reveal everything. We don't know what to expect. I think whatever's happening is inevitable. They can't stop it, so they're trying to keep up with it. And I think that they're going to give us their version of what they want us to believe. But regardless, things are going to change on this planet next year and for the following years. But I definitely think 2026 is, I think the stage is being set for it to be a very pivotal year for everyone of the town. Everyone's talking about Three Eye Atlas. It's been coming in for months now, and there's mixed reviews on it. Some people think it's just a comet. Many people believe it's an alien spacecraft. I personally think after just investigating myself and looking into it, I believe that it is a spacecraft. I think it's an intelligent craft. At least it's intelligently driven. And I mean, I don't know what it is and I don't know what they're here to do, but I don't think it's a negative thing. A lot of people, there's a lot of fear surrounding it. They think it's like this alien invasion coming. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't necessarily know. I've listened to all the theories and it's kind of hard to make sense of. Like, so half the people are saying it's doom and gloom. It's, we have to prepare, that we don't know what to expect. We should consider this, take this seriously. It could be a threat. And then the other half of the people think it's this very benevolent thing, and it's this craft that's coming here to like raise the frequency of the planet and help activate our DNA and wake people up. So there's two sides of the coin, but I absolutely think it's alien related or extraterrestrial related, at least in the sense that we understand them. It doesn't behave like a normal comet, as we know, but I think a primitive if it was a very highly advanced race of beings, I think that they wouldn't be putting on this show. It almost seems like a show, like it's like this, like a Hollywood movie or something. This incoming ship, it's been coming for months and months and months, and this big, there's this big, unveiling, reveal, this big reveal whenever it gets here. But it seems to be more theatrics, and I feel like they're also using it to gauge the public's reaction and see how they'll respond to it. And this way they know what they can get away with as far as what else to disclose after that. I would say at the very highest level, there are people within secret space programs that know probably exactly what it is and have already known for a while. And there are people out there saying that our secret government has been monitoring this for far longer than the public has known about, and there are people in the know that know. But then there's the lower levels of government and military and scientists. It's all compartmentalized that actually don't know. So it's all their best guess. And I think it's just kind of a test for humanity at the same time. Like it's absolutely helping usher in disclosure because it's forcing people to think outside the box and open their minds. But at the same time, it's um, at the same time, it's being used to gauge the reaction. I think they're taking advantage of it. The people who are in control are opportunists, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to push any fear narrative that they want to make us scared of this thing. But I don't think there's anything to be scared of, but I do think it is extraterrestrial related, or there is an intelligent being, driving the craft, but I don't really know what it is. It's just speculation for me, but I can't wait to see what happens. Well, this is a loaded question. So, what is preventing disclosure and what forces are pushing it forward? That is something that everybody would like to know the answer to that. But I think in simplest terms, it's a spiritual war. It's good versus evil. And I think it's pretty apparent that there has been a nefarious force on this planet for quite some time that has been suppressing humanity across the board globally. And then there's a light force, an angelic force that is helping to uplift and enlighten humanity and pull us out of that darkness. And it's been this constant war, these moves and counter moves, and there's a lot of pushback. As the awakening is like taking hold here on the planet, there is some pushback from the dark, who has had this stronghold on this reality for a long time. They're losing their grip, I think, and whoever the dark is, they could be negative aliens, demons, Anunnaki. I mean, you can just even bad people. It could be any number of things, but there does seem to be a global cabal that they're like a satanic network that worship Satan. Unfortunately, that just seems to be the case, and it seems to be that some of those people are involved in secret societies that call the shots here on Earth. But there's a great awakening happening right now that I don't think they can stop. Whether our planet is moving into a part of the universe that's a higher energy, and it's just quite literally this darkness can't exist there anymore because the whole planet is raising in frequency, and therefore, by proxy, all humanity is waking up and they're raising their frequency too, and that would explain the Great Awakening. So I think the forces that are pushing disclosure are us. It's every individual who is having an awakening and going on this mission of remembering who they are and speaking their truth and exposing this darkness that is coming to the surface right now. And it is being exposed. The reason things seem so bad right now is because I think the darkness is surfacing so it can be healed and purged, and it's only appears to be bad. I think it's been that bad for a long time, but now it's just visible and apparent because now we don't have the wool pulled over our eyes as much anymore, and a lot more people are self-aware, and we can see through these agendas that we were easily falling for, decades ago. So I don't know why, I don't know why. I don't have the answers, but I do know that I think the light is winning. I think for the first time ever in history, the light side, if you want to call it that, has the upper hand in this war. And I think that the cabal, the deep state is desperate. I think they're holding on for dear life to everything that they've created, this horrible dark infrastructure that they've created and this underground tunnel networks that's been used for trafficking and these horrific things that we hear about. I think that's all being dismantled. And right now they're trying to double down and hold on and preserve everything that they've created and worked for all these years. But that darkness can't exist where the planet is going and where humanity is going. So they're being basically like a flashlight to roaches. They're just scattering right now, and eventually they're not going to have anywhere to hide, and they just won't be able to exist here. At some point in the future, I think that their run is over, and I think we are on the precipice of this golden age, and whatever that looks like and however long it takes to get there, it's not going to be what anybody expects. I don't think it's going to be what anybody can anticipate. If you're a psychic, a remote viewer, people are trying to look into this and predict the future. But I ultimately think that nobody knows how it's going to play out. And I think it's going to be beautiful, but it's not going to be what we expect. And it might be dark for a while because everything needs to be cleaned up before we can actually have alien contact, open contact and this free energy technology and, living in harmony with the planet instead of being enslaved and poisoned. There's an order of operations here and things have to happen in order. Unfortunately, we can't just flip a switch and this be done overnight. For one, we don't have the infrastructure in place to support that type of a life here on Earth. So everything has to be slowly rolled out and it all has to be done in a certain way. And I don't think there's any one person or individual that's in charge. I think there's many groups, in fact, even at the highest levels, warring for control of the planet. And I think sometimes what we see on the world stage is us being caught in the middle of somebody else's war. And, we're just used as pawns most of the time. But I think that what they're most afraid of is us. We hold all the power. Once we tap into our true potential and remember who we are, there's nothing that we can't do, and there's nothing they can do to stop us. But we have to know that, and we have to remember that. So I personally believe that there are a number of ET groups that have been here for a long time working alongside humanity, in particular with the governments and the militaries of the world. And I think there's dark and light factions of both. And I think that, we hear about the reptilians and the grays and stuff, and I do think that they're working with the darker faction of the cabal. But I also believe that there are Pleiadian slash Nordics, the very human looking ETs. We see the depictions of them in the Galactic Federation with this blonde hair and all this stuff. I believe that's actually real. And I think there's positive forces that have been working behind the scenes with our government. And there's a lot of information to support that. President Eisenhower even met with some of these extraterrestrials, and that information is available. And agreements have been made, treaties have been made, but it's all happening behind the scenes. I think that the ones that are working most closely with humanity are ones that we wouldn't even recognize as extraterrestrials. I think they look so human that they could walk down the street and we wouldn't know the difference. They might have slightly bigger eyes, maybe some subtle different features, even the insides, probably organs in different places, or they might have, a different genetic makeup, but they're humanoids. They're the five-star template that is common, a common thread throughout our whole universe. Two arms, two legs, and a head. And they're humanoids and they look human, but they're not. They're from somewhere else. And whether it's another dimension, another planet, inner Earth, whatever it is, I believe that if we do have official first contact, that's who they'll introduce. It'll be a very human looking race of extraterrestrials. And it could be any race, but I would even say maybe even Venusians from Venus. And the reason I say that is if anyone's familiar with Stranger at the Pentagon and Valiant Thor, the whole story about him coming from Venus to work with our government and actually assist in the planetary liberation, but our government and military didn't want to do what he said, so they weren't cooperating with him, so he left. But Nikola Tesla, if you read the FBI files, it says right there in the FBI's declassified documents that Nikola Tesla, who was the greatest mind that we've ever known, was from Venus, was born on Venus. And you think I know people think that's crazy, but they can look that up for themselves, and it's right there in the FBI's paperwork. So that would mean that we have human-looking Venusians. If Tesla was from Venus, I mean, we see pictures of him everywhere. He just looks like a human. So I wouldn't be surprised if they play a role in this as well. So I think there's any number of scenarios that can play out, but if I had to guess, I would say that if they do introduce us to an extraterrestrial race, it's gonna be a human, it's gonna look human, and people are gonna understand that they're a lot closer to us than we realize. But I could be wrong. They might roll out some gray ET and scare everybody. Who knows? Let me reword that. So I actually believe that the inner Earth civilizations are very much playing a part in this as well. And I think that many of them want to surface and they want to interact with us and walk amongst us. But I think from what I've researched that they have kind of been forced underground because of the pollution on the surface and things have gotten so dense and polluted up here, including the frequency from the towers. Like I said earlier, they just can't exist up here. So once the planet starts to be cleaned up and we don't have the chemtrails anymore, or all this frequency warfare, and our water is clean and our air is clean, and things are much lighter up here, then I would say that we could expect to see some of these inner Earth civilizations surfacing and helping us and assisting us and evolving into a benevolent race that isn't constantly warring with each other, and like I said, working and living in harmony with the planet. And I think they're going to play a big role in that, and they probably are behind the scenes. Just from some whistleblower testimony that I've heard, they are in some capacity working with factions of the military and maybe even the government. And there's apparently this whole underground tunnel network and this tram system and under Area 51 that leads straight to one of their cities. I mean, it's all hearsay, but that's what people are saying. That's what these whistleblowers are talking about. So I think that, like I said, behind the scenes, they're already involved, but I do think they're going to play a prominent role in the future as far as helping humanity wake up to our true potential.